I grew up in what you'd call a pretty normal household. My parents worked a lot, but still made time for me and my three older sisters. We weren't a deeply close-knit family, but we never had any major issues either. The same went for our extended relatives. We only saw them during summer holidays or Christmas, and things were always friendly. As we got older, everyone drifted apart, living their separate lives. Nothing unusual about that. Fast forward to 2014. I was 22, attending university. And one evening, while gaming with friends, I got a phone call from my mother. I ignored it at first, but then she called again right away. That was an unspoken rule. In our family, if someone calls twice like that, it means something serious. So I excused myself and picked up. The moment I answered, I heard what sounded like a full-blown argument in the background. Then it quieted down. My mom must have gone into another room. She was crying. Confused and worried, I asked what was going on. That's when she asked me if I had something to confess about my cousin. EE is on my mother's side, 7 years younger than me. She was 15 at the time. I hadn't seen her in years. I said no. I had no idea what she was talking about. But then she started sobbing harder and told me E had accused me of sexually assaulting her when she was 9 and I was 16, she claimed. I had touched her inappropriately while she was playing in my room. I was stunned, completely numb. Couldn't speak at first. It felt so absurd. I thought maybe it was some terrible joke. But my mom kept shouting, demanding I say something. I told her it wasn't true, that E was lying. But she wouldn't stop, saying E had described everything in disturbing detail where it happened, what I supposedly did. She asked over and over, "Did you do this?" And I kept shouting, "No." It ended with her putting me on speakerphone, so both my mom and dad could tell me they wanted nothing more to do with me. They said to never contact them again. Later that day, 2 of my sisters texted me, called me disgusting, and blocked me. After that call, I remember taking a long shower. I don't even know why. Maybe I just needed to feel something, or maybe it was the only thing I could do while my brain tried to process what had just happened. When I came out, I started texting and calling everyone, my parents, my siblings. Even E most ignored me. Some blocked me. The only thing I got back was a message from my dad telling me to stop. Reaching out, they needed time to heal. That was 9 years ago. I haven't heard from any of them since until recently. Those early weeks were a blur. I barely ate. I couldn't sleep. And it couldn't have come at a worse time. I was supposed to defend my bachelor's thesis soon, and I was already under pressure. Thank God for my co-writer. He noticed something was wrong and took over most of the talking during the presentation. If it weren't for him, I would have failed. No one from my family showed up for my graduation. Then came the darkest period of my life. I was living in fear every day, expecting the police to knock on my door. I didn't apply to any jobs, just lived off my savings. I drank a lot, took Oxy. I got violent, broke things in my apartment. One night I smashed a glass, and my neighbor called the cops. I somehow convinced them it was just an accident, and since I lived alone, they left. Instead of sleeping at night, I sat there plotting revenge on E, on everyone who turned on me. I fantasized about hurting her, about doing worse than what she falsely accused me of. I'm ashamed of those thoughts. That's how far gone I was. The only reason I didn't hurt anyone was because there was no one left around me. In late 2015, I finally landed a job in my field. It didn't fix everything, but it gave me something normal to hold on to. I focused on work and tried to rebuild. I drank less, smiled occasionally, lived frugally, and saved money. Every birthday, I'd buy myself something nice. Lego, a VR headset, even a motorcycle. I eventually bought a small house with a garage and a garden, something I'd always dreamed of. That helped a little. I've been on antidepressants for years. They don't make me feel good. They just take away the darkest thoughts and leave you feeling ... nothing. I've tried dating, but that's a nightmare. How do I explain why I have no family? Why I trust no one? The only woman I can speak openly with is my therapist. She's been on vacation for a while, so I've had no one to talk to. Then a few days ago, I received a text from my mother. I was too afraid to open it at first. I stared at it for hours. Then came a second one. In short, they said they missed me and wanted to reconnect. My mom wrote about my sisters, nieces, and nephews. I didn't even know I was an uncle. They ended it with, "We love you, always have." The second message explained everything. Apparently, during a recent family gathering, someone brought up my name. That's when my accuser started downplaying the incident. She eventually admitted that nothing actually happened. She had likely just dreamt it all. Everyone was shocked. My parents were horrified. They said they told everyone the truth and now want me back in their lives. They apologized and said they knew they couldn't take back what happened, but hoped I could forgive them. I didn't reply, not at first. I was seething. I wanted to call them and unleash everything I'd been holding in for the past 10 years. I wanted them to hurt the way I did. I thought about just ignoring them and moving on with my life. Then, about a week after their messages, reached out too. She sent me a long apology message, said she had mental health issues and didn't know what she was doing back then. She's finally getting help, and her parents are supporting her. The whole thing read like a list of excuses. It made my skin crawl. She ended it with the shortest, most hollow "I'm sorry." I had to reply. I couldn't let her think that was enough. I told her, "You think your mental health was bad? Try being disowned by your entire family for 10 years exiled during the most vulnerable years of adulthood, and see how that screws up your mind. You ruined me. You knew the truth the whole time, and you let me suffer alone. You're lucky I didn't kill myself. My parents might be a different story, but I will never forgive you. You destroyed my life. Rot in hell. Don't ever contact me again." She read it, but never responded. The good news? I also replied to my parents. We didn't say much by text. We saved it for a phone call. The conversation lasted several hours. Hearing their voices again was ... strange. At one time, those voices meant home and safety. They reminded me of betrayal, screaming, abandonment. But they didn't make excuses. They owned everything. They apologized countless times. They said the guilt had eaten at them for years. That they believed because her story was so detailed. I asked them why they didn't even try to help me, why they just cut me off without any effort to understand. They said they struggled with it, but genuinely believed they were protecting her. They said they wanted to reach out after a year or two, but thought I'd never want to hear from them again. That pissed me off. I told them, "It doesn't matter what kind of person you thought I was, I'm your son." That should have come first. In the end, we agreed to stay in contact. I'm not visiting them anytime soon, and I haven't spoken to my sisters, but it's a start. The anger is still there, but something is changing.